Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you guys are having a great weekend. It's been a busy week for me. I had 3 birthdays this past week. My boys had soccer practice, 3 other nights, and games on the other night. So it was just a crazy week. Luckily, there was not much news going on as far as Bitcoin miners was. So I've done some little bit behind the scenes updates on the spreadsheets and things like that. And also we'll take a look at other things that we're gonna take a look at today, which is going to be taking a look at the S21 Bitcoin miner, which is from Bitmain, which is a new one from them. How does it compare to the other miners out there from What's Miner and MicroBT? What is the ROI on that? And then we're also going to take a look at the Bitcoin miners themselves as far as whether they're undervalued or overvalued based on the market cap metrics, comparing it to Bitcoin and their hash rate and future hash rate. So we'll go over those. I think there's 6 metrics in that. We'll give you guys the lowdown on that. And then we'll also take a look at the weekly Bitcoin price or weekly Bitcoin performance compared to the miners. And then we'll also get into what's going on with Bitcoin right now, and we'll call it a day. So there's always going to be the chapters down below. And you guys know the drill here. This is not financial advice for entertainment only. Please do your own research. And I'm investing in the following coins and companies for full disclosure. Also, if you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out tremendously. And this might be a little bit longer of a video, so that's why I said there's going to be the chapters down below. Okay, so let's take a look at what's going on here with Bitmain and their new machine here. So they released, I believe it was earlier this week, so right on Monday, Tuesday, something like that, that they're basically releasing a Bitcoin miner, the S21 version now instead of the S19 version. The S19 version came out basically when we were in the last bull run, and it's followed through with the S19 XP and things like that, improvements there. And we've seen this every cycle. So every cycle that we do have, we get improvements in the ASIC miners from the efficiency point of view, hash rate increases as well, things like that. So it's always getting better, but the price also follows Bitcoin price. So this one does not provide a price on it yet. I haven't been able to figure out what the price is on it, but the S19 XP for 141 terahash, I think, or 151 terahash is going for like 4,000 something. I'm guessing this thing's gonna be going probably for close to 8,000, 8,500. That's kind of my estimate on it. Right? We're also gonna compare this to the Avalon miners here and the What's miners and the What's miners here. So those are the ones that we're going to compare here. Also, something to note here that usually during the bull runs is not the best time to be buying miners. I'll point that out to you guys here in a little bit. And the best time to be buying miners is actually in the bear markets because the price of these ASICs follow the price of Bitcoin. So Bitcoin starts going back up to 69,000, 100,000, 150,000, whatever. Those machines are going to go up as well in that price point. So it's never a good time to buy in the bull market. It's always better to buy in the bear market as price of Bitcoin's coming down, and so are these machines here. Okay, and you can get a lot quicker ROI on them, as we'll see here in the next chart. So here's what we got going on. So over here, when we look at the miners that we do have, obviously the M50S, 128 terahash, MicroBT, M56S Plus, and then MicroBT M56S Plus Plus. These are the terahashes on each machine, the cost roughly that's from their websites, the watts they use. So we're using all that data here. We also have some assumptions here as well. Those assumptions are as follows. So currently Bitcoin price is at 27,000. Current network hash rate is at 405 million terahashes, and that's based on a 30-day moving average. Electrical cost, that's just for this page here. It's at 95 cents, and it goes all the way down to 4.5 cents. I'm using the comparison at 4.5 cents on these miners. And then we have Bitcoin basically going to 43,000 within the next year. After that, after we get into the halving event, past halving event, and we hit the bull run, I'm looking at maybe 189,000, which is kind of close to what I thought it was going to be, around 188, somewhere around there. And then after that, Bitcoin price actually will fall back down like it has in previous cycles. If it happens again, we're possibly looking to go back down to around 66,000 at that point. And then following that, we'll start doing a reversal again where we go back up to 94,000 here. Network hash rate, like I said, is at 405 million terahashes right now. In the next year, we may increase that by basically another 100 terahash, 100 exahash. Then going into the bull run here, we'll get up a little bit higher and some more in the following years ahead. There's also something to note there as we get closer to the halving event, which is about 6 months away now, right? 6, 7 months or so. That is going to definitely cut, it should decrease the network hash rate because the miners that are not profitable or less efficient, they're going to be shutting down for a period of time until maybe we can be profitable for them again. But with the network hash rate increasing, it's going to be really hard for them to be profitable going forward. So we should see a decrease in the network hash rate come after the halving event for possibly 3-4 months, where we'll see a decrease where those older miners get unplugged and possibly newer miners get plugged in for those. But that's still going to take time. Okay, so some things to note here. I think that's it on this one that I wanted to explain to you guys, so you guys can see how things work out. And this is based on data that I've seen for the past cycles, as far as how things have increased and decreased, things like that. And this is just like, I'm using the averages of that. Okay, so you might be plus or minus here, a couple percentage, 5–10%, something like that, plus or minus. Either way it could go. Okay, not here. We want to go here. So based on this information here, we can see that the ROI for the M50S 128 terahash miner is 16 months. And over the 48 months, if things worked out this way, where the net cash rate went to where I think it might go, along with the Bitcoin price, there would be a return on investment of 373%, which is really good. Then the MicroBT M56S Plus, the 220 terahash miner, is 19 months ROI. And that's basically paying the machine off and then being profitable after that. And that would be 245% ROI over 48 months. Then we got the MicroBT, that 254 terahashes, and that's an 18-month ROI and 266% ROI over 48 months. Now, the new Antminer 200 terahash machine is definitely the one that's the most efficient here. It's at 17.5 joules per terahash, whereas the MicroBT, I think this is probably off. I think this is around 21, 22 here on the joules per terahash. So this is kind of off, but the other ones are 24, 26, so they're definitely higher. The Antminer 200 will definitely last a lot longer, I think, with the joules per terahash being low, below 17.5, than some of these over here. But that's got a 24-month ROI because of the price tag, right? And if you buy more miners, I'm guessing you're probably getting a better deal on it. And like I said, this is just an estimated price that I have for them right now. But that's going to give us 98% ROI over 48 months. And what else do I want to say? Yeah, basically what I said was, if you're buying a lot more of these miners, you're probably getting a better price than what the spot price could possibly be here. Then you got the Antminer 141 terahash, or sorry, that should be 151 terahash. I have to update this really quick before I forget. 151 terahash miner. That one's going on Bitmain's website right now for $4.9 thousand. That's a 22-month ROI and 136% return on investment over 48 months. Then you got the Antminer 100 terahash. That one's going for $1,950 on Bitmain's site. Those are spot orders. That would be a 20-month return on investment and an ROI of over 48 months, 236%. Then when you get into the Avalon miners here, this one is the 120 terahash. It's 60 months return on investment, but the joules per terahash efficiency is pretty high up there. It's 27.5. It's lower than the 100 terahash miner at 29.5, but still quite up there. So the two best ones are going to be the Antminer 151 and the 200 miner here, 17.5 and 21.5. And then when you get into the other Avalon miners here, the 113, that one's got a 17-month return on investment and 372%, whereas the previous one had 391, which is still pretty good. But you're obviously sacrificing efficiency there to get that ROI there. And then finally, we have the 104 terahash miner from Avalon as well. And that one is a 16-month return on investment. And at the 48 months, it's at 438%. So given the time frame that we're in now, if things worked out this way, where Bitcoin price goes to where it's supposed to go with my numbers, network hash rate and things like that, this would probably be the best one to get into, but it's at 31 joules per terahash, so that's definitely going to be tougher. But because the price tag is so low, you're definitely going to be able to recoup that a lot faster and then possibly mine more, or revenue-wise mine more than you would with some of the other ones that are higher priced. Now, given that, like I said, the Antminers from Bitmain are higher priced. I'm guessing if you have credits with them, if you buy a lot of miners, like some of these mining companies that we track here, they're going to get a lot better price than that. So I would expect that ROI to be a lot better and shorter than what it is right now that I have them for. It could be also the same thing for the other ones here, but ones that you definitely don't want to get are the ones that are above 30 joules per terahash, like this one, even though it has pretty good numbers here. But like I said, that's just going to be couple of years of usage out of that thing, and then it's going to be pretty much no longer profitable possibly. So if we look at that one here, that's the Avalon miner 104 terahash. Let's see here, 120, 113, 104. You can see the revenue that it's making here. 104 continues. You can see here it goes down to $18 a month at the end of pretty much right after the halving event. So we were at 131, then we're down to 115. for the month, or $15 for the month, because it was at $4.36, but the network rewards get cut in half. It goes down quite a bit here, substantially, to $15 from $131. It does go up while the price of Bitcoin is going up, but then afterwards it will start coming back down here. And you can see here that towards the end of the cycle here, it's definitely coming back down, but not as much as it has in the past. It just really depends where Bitcoin goes in the network hash rate. So if the network hash rate goes a lot higher than what I have it here, that's definitely going to impact all of these miners, not just the one down below. Okay, so here's what I wanted to point out to you guys here. Let's see if we can draw this properly. So every cycle that we've had so far on this, including the previous cycles that we've had, we've seen the miners, ASIC miners price go, let's see here, the ASIC miners price go up with BTC price also going up. And we've seen it come down, right, when BTC price comes down. We've seen that time and time again. And when we get these into the cycles, we have a 4-year cycle pretty much from halving to halving. After the halving event, which might be here, you'll see the price, start to go back up. Then we get into it like 12, 18 months out or so to 24 months. We see Bitcoin price coming back down, excuse me, close to where it was prior, sometimes getting below it. And then it starts to go back up as we get obviously past that halving event. So this part here, usually towards the 3/4 of the end of the cycle, this is probably like the best time to buy miners at that point, because they are coming down in price. You're also starting to see newer miners come on board that are more efficient, and also, well, they're more efficient. They might cost a little bit more, but they're more efficient. And you're going to see obviously higher hash rates and things like that. So this is the time to be really buying here, and I don't want that. Right around here is the time that you want to be really buying towards that, and even up to the halving event or prior to the halving it, as the prices are still relatively low. Okay, so that's kind of what I wanted to point out there. That's usually the way I would do it. We've seen a lot of miners that got caught up in the, I guess you could say the frenzy of Bitcoin price going up. They were buying machines around $8,000, $7,000 a machine, and then they couldn't obviously be profitable when we got down back into this bear market here. And they actually had to return miners, like we've seen with Stronghold, we've seen it with Iris Energy with their special purpose vehicles. We've seen it with other ones also. Core got into trouble as well. I don't think Marathon got in too big of a trouble, but I think they overpaid for some of their miners as well, which is going to be hurting their ROI on those things a little bit, but not too bad. And that's why I think, like I said, last year was a great time to be buying. Even into this year, as Bitcoin price was kind of hovering around the 27,000 mark, somewhere around there, was a good time to be buying, and as we get closer into the halving event as well. All right, so that's it. Let me know what you guys think of that, and then let's take a look at the miners here as far as the metrics are concerned. So on this, I take a look at the market cap compared to the hash rate, the HODL, their also BTC mined, future hash rate, things like that. And this kind of gives me an idea as far as where each miner is, whether they're, based on the chart here, undervalued or overvalued on these metrics here, okay? So the first metrics that we have here is market cap per hash rate. So we're looking for these pink lines, orange lines, light orange lines, whatever you want to call them, the bars, to be above these blue lines. That represents that they are undervalued in this aspect. So when we look at CleanSpark is at 9.3 exahash, but they're only getting basically 92,000 per petahash. You could look at it that way, okay, per each petahash that they have. And I probably should put this up on the screen for you guys so you guys can see it. Okay, so that's kind of what we're looking at here. And then we have Core. There's a reason for Core is undervalued right now in this aspect. It's because they're going through Chapter 11 bankruptcy. They are going to be getting out of it possibly in the month of October, which is just a day away. But they're saying towards the end of the month, so we'll see how that helps them out, improve things on this aspect. Well, with the market cap being so low right now, that's why they're being priced the way that they are, okay? So they're at 15.2 exahash. They're getting paid only 17.7 per petahash on that one. Stronghold is there's also a caveat to that one. Stronghold may have pretty good mining, but their margins are not great. When you include all the cash expenses and things like that, they're actually losing money on it, and they're losing money quite a bit. So that's why they are undervalued currently. There's a reason for it. They're just bleeding money right now. Okay, but they have 4 exahash online, and they're only getting 8,000 per petahash right now. Right, they're getting discounted because of the financial situation that they are in right now. Iris Energy is at 5.5 exahash. they're getting paid 44,000 per petahash. So there's undervalued in this aspect. Marathon is at 19.1 exahash. Their current value per petahash is at 91,334, which is definitely higher than some of these guys here. So they're getting valued more, but they're still not getting valued as much. And that could be basically because they don't own any of their own facilities. They host everything with third parties. So their costs a little bit higher on that. They're at about 7.5 cents per kilowatt hour, I believe. So that's why they're kind of maybe showing up here a little bit as being undervalued in that aspect. Argo, there's also a caveat to Argo. Argo is not going to be growing that much. They're also in a financial strain right now where they have more debt than they do have assets and things like that. So it's going to be tough for them to get out of that spot and continue to grow. They've also sold their facility to Galaxy Digital. So there's reasons for where they are right now, but they have 2.7 exahash online and they're getting valued at 19.79 thousand per petahash, okay, based on the market cap. Bitfarms is at 5.6 exahash. They're getting priced at 49.34. They're pretty close to being fairly valued on that based on the numbers here for them. They're slightly undervalued on that one, but they still get basically a negative 1.4. So I forgot to mention, any company that's undervalued gets a negative 1 point. Any company that's overvalued gets a 1 point. And we calculate all the numbers here. Okay, TerraWolf right now is at 4.9 exahash. They're getting valued at 56.86 thousand per petahash. Okay, so they are definitely overvalued here based on the numbers comparing to everybody else. Hive is at 3.69 exahash. They're getting valued at 70.26 thousand per petahash. They're overvalued on this aspect. Sphere 3D is just slightly overvalued here with 1.3 exahash. They're getting valued at 12.18K per petahash. Then we got BitDigital as at 2 exahash. They're getting valued at 90.81 thousand. Definitely a heck of a lot higher value compared to some of the other miners here, like Iris Energy, even Bitfarms or CleanSpark, right? They're getting way more value based on what they have here as far as exahash is concerned. Cypher is also kind of a little tough to measure here because they also have other operations, not just self-mining, but they also have hosting and other things like that. Actually, no, they don't have a hosting, but they report they have, what do they have? They have a joint venture. Sorry, they have a joint venture with somebody, and they're currently being listed here as being overvalued. They're at 5.8 exahash for the self-mining. They're getting valued at 101,000 per petahash. Okay, DigiHost is 913 petahash. They're being valued at 33,000 per petahash, which is also being overvalued here based on the numbers that they do have. DMG, same boat, 917 petahash. They're at 570,000 per petahash. And then you got Riot. Riot, there's a caveat to them as well. As you know, in August, they got like 32 million in power credits. And that's not really shown here. So I would say with Riot, you could almost say that they are fairly valued, if not a little bit undervalued based on their performance there. We just don't know when they're going to provide, well, we just don't know when they're going to provide or apply the credits to their self-mining and hosting side of the business. So we don't know how those numbers are going to work out each month for that. So that's why they are where they are. Bitdeer. Okay, Bitdeer is also another caveat there. Bitdeer has hosting. They have like 3 or 4 different segments of their business. Self-mining hosting, another hosting where they host, where you can basically buy the miners' rack space or something like that. So you're basically renting the miners. They have that. So that's not being reported in this as well. So based on that, I think they're pretty well valued as it is right now. On it, if we included the extra hash rate that they have for that. And then you got Hut 8. Hut 8 is definitely getting way overvalued here based on only being at 2.6 exahash roughly. And they're being valued at 166,000 per petahash. And that doesn't take into account HODL, obviously. So all of these has basically HODL included. When we look down below, we'll take out HODL here. But they're definitely getting way overvalued based on that. They are going to be merging with US Bitcoin if that hasn't already happened. I thought that was supposed to happen at the end of this month, but I haven't seen any releases on that, so it might happen early in October on that one. Okay, so that's the way things stacked up there. Let's take a look at here quickly here on the market cap minus HODL and the hash rate. So we're doing the same thing we did here, but we're taking out the HODL position of the market cap and then comparing things, how things stack up. Okay, so when we take out HODL here, CleanSpark is still undervalued with 9.3 exahash. Again, 57,000 per petahash. Core still 17.7. They don't have anything to HODL. Stronghold is actually down a little bit here on, oh no, they're still the same as it is. They're getting 7.17 thousand now for per petahash. Iris Energy does, I don't think they HODL anything. I think they might have a little bit of a HODL, like something. I would have to look at it. Let's see, Iris Energy, is that right here? We'll just take a quick peek at it. Yeah, they don't have anything to HODL, so not sure why that one's coming up the way it is. Nope, not that one. Where is it at? Oh, there it is. Okay, so that's that one. Our Marathon right now comes down to 73,000 without their HODL, right? So it's still undervalued. Argo, same thing for them. So they pretty much stayed where they are. Down a little bit here. I think they have a little bit of a HODL. Bitfarms is down to 46,000 per petahash. That leads me to believe that they are overvalued based on that. If we take out HODL there. TeraWolf is overvalued. Hive is overvalued. Sphere overvalued. You guys can see the numbers here. I'm not going to go through them all, but you get the picture of how things stack up. Then we take a look at market cap by future hash, where they're going to be possibly within the next couple months, hopefully before the halving event. When we look at things here as well, we can see which ones are undervalued. The ones that are undervalued are CleanSpark, Core, Stronghold, Marathon, Bitfarms, TeraWolf, and we got also Riot here. The other ones are still overvalued, and there's some reasons for that. If we look at where's Riot. Riot is actually undervalued here based on that because they are going to be growing to 20 exahash, and they're getting valued at, what is that, 85,000 or something like that per petahash. So for them, this would be actually undervalued for them. Okay. Then we look at the Bitcoin price right now, comparing it to, I believe this is the amount of Bitcoin that they mined, right? And we're comparing it to, this is, I gotta think here. There's too many metrics here. But we're just comparing Bitcoin mined in August compared to the price right now and where the market cap is on things like that. What are we getting for basically Bitcoin being mined? So they mined, CleanSpark mined 659 Bitcoins. At that point, they're getting 2.1 thousand. Take a look at the numbers here. That represents, let's see here, future. This is the one that we want to look at. Let me make sure I get this right. So we're looking at Bitcoin production. And if we edit this chart, so let me see here. So that's, we're looking at Bitcoin production, and then we actually want to look at what's the 6.4 getting marked up as. 27,000. So we're taking a look at the market cap. Okay, we're dividing the market cap by the price divided by, so we're dividing 27,000 by that. So you get 2,154 basically Bitcoins out of that. Okay, so that's what we're doing. All right, put that back. Okay, so CleanSpark, Core, Stronghold, Iris are still undervalued here. Argo is undervalued based on this. Bitfarms, TeraWolf, Hive, Sphere, BitDigital, DigiHost, and DMG. The ones that are overvalued are Hot 8, BitDeer, Riot, and we've talked about those, why those might be actually higher, relatively close to being fairly valued, I guess you'd say. Marathon at this point is actually overvalued based on this, right? Based on the market cap and what they're mining here. And then when we look at market cap divided by BTC mined, we can see here that CleanSpark is, let's see here, they're getting basically 0.88 million, so 888,000 per Bitcoin mined for the market cap. Core is at 280,000 with 965, so those are undervalued. You can see the other ones here as well. Stronghold, Iris, Marathon undervalued, Argo, Bitfarms, TeraWolf, Hive, Sphere even, and then you got BitDigital being overvalued here, Cypher being undervalued, DigiHost over, DMG over, Riot over. They're getting 5.19 million per Bitcoin mine. And like I said, because with their power credits and things like that, that might be more in line or maybe just a little bit overvalued here based on that. BitDeer, like I said, they have hosting and other things as well. And then Hot 8 has a huge HODL, but they also are merging with USBTC, so maybe they're valuing that in as well. And we take a look at the market cap minus HODL per BTC mined, how things stack up here. You can still see that CleanSpark, Core, Stronghold, Iris, Marathon are undervalued. Argo is overvalued. Bitfarms, TeraWolf, Hive undervalued. Sphere, BitDigital, Cypher, DigiHost, DMG, Riot, BitDeer, and Hut 8 are overvalued. Okay, so when we pull it all in here with the numbers here, so like I said, we grade them if they're undervalued, have a -1. If they're overvalued, they get a 1. Then we add it all up together here, and we get the totals for everybody. And here's how things stack up. So Clean Spark, definitely undervalued. Core, there's a reason for it. We spoke about that. Stronghold, same thing. There's a reason for why they're overvalued right now. Iris Energy, definitely undervalued, along with Marathon. Argo, slightly undervalued, but you know the situation with them. Bitfarms, I would agree that they are slightly undervalued. TeraWolf, same thing. Hive appears to be pretty well valued right now based on these metrics. Sphere is actually overvalued a little bit, and I would agree with that. Same thing with BitDigital, Cypher, DigiHost, DMG, Riot, and BitDeer. Those two are kind of questionable here. They probably are more fairly valued than what's showing up here. And then definitely Hut 8, I think, is overvalued, but because they have US Bitcoin merging with them for merger of equals, I think that's maybe why they're kind of getting more of a benefit of a doubt than anything else. Okay, so that's the way things stack up here. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys agree with the way things have come out with undervalued and overvalued on this, or if you want to add anything else down in the comments, I'd love to hear it from you guys. And let's take a look at really quick here, the weekly here on this past week. It's kind of interesting though. We've had basically the last 10 weeks or so, 10, 11 weeks, and I think we've had like 10 weeks that we've been in the red here. So it's definitely unusual for us to be there. We haven't been this long in the red for quite a while, since possibly early last year. But we'll take a look at it here. So on this one, we're looking at the 52-week lows, from 52-week lows and from 52-week highs. The green bars are how high the miners are up from their 52-week lows, and the red bars are how far away the miners are from the 52-week highs. Okay, so obviously still core is still way up there. They bottomed out at like 4 cents, 8 cents earlier this year because of the Chapter 11 bankruptcy. They bounced back because of it, so that's why they're up so high. Cyphers and U1, obviously they came on the scene this year going public. BitDigital has been around for a while. They're definitely getting a really big boost here. They had to move their operations from China in, what was it, 2021, I believe, when China banned mining there. So they struggled last year because of it and moving all the miners and things like that. They've been buying some newer miners as well. So they've definitely gotten a big boost here from investors. Iris also has done really well, 263%. DigiHost, 241%. Riot, 187. Bitfarms, 184. Argo, 177. Marathon, 173. Hut 8, 150. TeraWolf, 133%. Hive, 126%. CleanSpark, 119%. DMG, 111. BitDeer, 109 is another one that came on the scene new this year. And Bitcoin's up 70% here, so everybody to the left has done a lot better. The ones that have really struggled here in the last basically 9 months is Sphere 3D and Mawson. Mawson obviously not mining a lot. Same thing with Sphere 3D, and so there's some concern there for those guys going forward. And then obviously you can see how far away the miners are still from their 52-week highs. Now, so if you bought basically the miners like at the beginning of this year or anytime at the beginning of this year, you're still probably up on the miners themselves as it is. You might not be up to 170 some percent. You might be up only 15%, 30%, whatever it might be. But you should be still up on some of those miners unless you bought them towards the little peak that we had here, or the little run that we've had with them, and towards like June. If you bought towards there, then you're probably down maybe 50% on them at that point from where we've come down. Okay. Here's the weekly performance on the miners here as well. We'll take a look at that really quick. And we can see here that this past week, Sphere has done actually really good, up almost 45%, well, up 45%, close to 50%. DigiHost up 19%, Core up 3. We have a lot of them that are at 3. DMG, Hive, and then we got 2.8 for BitDigital. Hut is at 2.6. Riot at 0.97, and Bitfarms 0.94. Bitcoin's basically flat on the week from Friday to Friday. Marathon's down a little bit here, along with CleanSpark, Iris, Argo, Cypher, TeraWolf, Mawson, and BitDeer are the ones that are down the most here. That's on the 4 weeks. Let's take on the 1 week. Let's take a look at the 4 weeks here. See how those have stacked up here as well. So we're descending. Go here. Okay. So different story here. Bitcoin's up actually 2.6% from 4 weeks ago. The only ones that have done better is DigiHost and Sphere. Everybody else here you can see has done worse on it. If we look at the 8 weeks as well, there it is, 8 weeks. Bitcoin is actually down 9.59% from 8 weeks ago. Everybody else has pretty much done worse except for Sphere. It's only down 5.37. Worst ones are TeraWolf and Mawson. So like I said, if you bought somewhere around like the June timeframe, which was kind of like the peak of the mini bull run that we had in the Bitcoin miners from beginning of the year, you're down, like I said, somewhere around 50%, 34%, something like that on them. And then if we look at the 12 weeks here really quick as well, we can see here that Bitcoin is actually down 12.38%, right? So 3 months away. So we got September basically August, and July, which is right at that point where the miners basically at the end of June kind of peaked a little bit here. And you can see here that Bitcoin's down 12.38% and the miners are down more. And that's the effect that we have of having Bitcoin miners be kind of like a leverage play on it, right? So Bitcoin goes down, these guys usually go down more. When Bitcoin goes up, Bitcoin miners go up even more, okay? But you can see how things have stacked up here. When we look at the actual weekly chart here, which gives us the red and the green numbers for all the miners percentage-wise, we can see here that since basically it looks like right around the middle of July, we've definitely gone south. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This one's kind of questionable, maybe 10, depending on how many miners there are in the green compared to how many are in the red. So we got basically 10 weeks out of the last 11 weeks where we've been, for the most part, in the red, which is just rough. It's been definitely rough. Let's see. Prior to that, we had, I think, 5 or 6 weeks in the month of December of last year that we had checked out before. But yeah, this is definitely interesting how things have stacked up this time around. So also, interesting note here is, let me see here. The interesting part of it is last time, this halving cycle. So a year before the halving cycle, the miners actually were going down. Bitcoin's actually going up. This time around, we've seen kind of a little bit of a change up here. So about 16 months before the halving cycle, the miners actually went up for 6 months, right, from January to June sometime. And now they've actually gone down the last 3 months roughly. So we'll see if this continues going forward, where they're going to go down before the halving event. Bitcoin still could be going up, but miners for some reason will go down because of the fear in investors with the halving cycle that the miners are going to be generating less. But they don't take into account that when the halving event does happen, network hash rate actually drops because the inefficient miners go down, and you have Bitcoin price eventually starting to go back up to new all-time highs, which then generates even more revenue for them, especially for the miners that have been growing really well over the last, I would say, 2-3 years, especially in the bear market, buying miners on the cheap. Those are the ones that kind of really, interested me in the long run, okay? But that's just what I wanted to share with you guys, and let's take a look at what's going on here with Bitcoin really quick. So Bitcoin, why don't we look at the network hash rate first, and then we'll get into this. So network hash rate on the 30-day average here, we can see that we've had a pretty big run up here since last week here, which was the 22nd here. So basically we went up from, roughly on the 30-day average, 395 exahash, all the way up to 405 exahash. So 10 exahash basically added here in the last week, which is a pretty big jump here that we've had. We've had obviously a steady rise here over this year. If we go back to, this is July, let's see here, going back all the way down to the beginning of the year, which is right around here. So we were way lower on that. We were at right there, 245. We basically increased 150 exahash in the network hash rate over the last 9 months, which is just a huge increase there. And you can see network hash rate was coming down as the Bitcoin price was coming down as well, because the miners, like I said, that are not profitable at that point will shut down. So we were at November. In November, we were at 265. We came down all the way to 245. So almost 20 exahash was pulled off online at that point. We'll probably see something like this when the halving event happens again, sometime around April, I believe it's going to happen. But we'll see this kind of scenario where network hash rate actually decreases at that point. Okay, so that's kind of where Bitcoin network hash rate is at right now. Okay, next, the Bitcoin price. So Bitcoin price has been hovering around it's been kind of bouncing between the 50-day moving average, which is the teal line here, and the yellow line of the 20-day moving average. You can see that it bounced off of it, bounced above the 50-day, came back down to the 20-day, tested that, fell below it, and it's gone back up, and now we're testing the 50-day again. We'll have to see what happens going forward, but right now, I think it's possibly we might have bottomed out here at the 26,000 mark here, or where was it? It was around 25,000 mark, the same spot that we bottomed out in June, right? So ever since then, the miners have been going down, while price actually of Bitcoin has been going up. And this might be the bottom that we may have needed to continue going back up higher. I'm not seeing it too much on the daily RSI chart or so. Let's take a look at the weekly RSI. On the weekly, you can see here that the RSI is definitely much lower here, so that's good. We can continue to go back up here, which is really what we needed. So over the last 12 weeks, it has come down, which is good. And we are not close to the price here. We're obviously lower. Price at that point, and the high here on the RSI and the weekly was at 70 here, and the price of it was at 30,000. We're way down to 50 now on the RSI, and the price is at 27,000 right now. So we're not too far. We're only 3,000 away from there. But I think this gives us more room to run up here, especially as we get into the halving event and then after the halving event. But as we all know, it's going to be a roller coaster ride, up and down. Even after the halving event, people are going to take profits. We're going to drop back down. We're going to get a reset a little bit on the RSI, on the weekly, the daily, so forth, so on. And then the price is going to go back up. So it's part of the game here. Let's see here, the 4-hour chart, we can see here that the RSI is also looking pretty good here. You can see that the price is actually above where the RSI was at 67. RSI is actually lower at this point, so that's good. Had a little bit of a reset there. It's going forward. And then on the 1-hour chart, you can see that the price right now is higher than, or about the same as it was back here, which was definitely much higher than the RSI. So that's good. So we're kind of going up, coming back down a little bit, resetting a little bit, and going back up higher. So that's kind of looking good right now. But you never know what Bitcoin could go back all the way down here. I think that's it. I think we covered everything that I wanted to talk to you guys about. We've covered pretty much the topics I wanted to cover. I don't think I missed anything. I think we're good there. Other topics to talk about is, as always, the spreadsheets are going to be available to my Patreon members. Those are actually, so here's a story on that one. There's only 4 spots left for the $4 a month membership fee to get the access to the spreadsheets, other things that I do, all that stuff. That's for $4. There's only 4 spots left for that. Once those get filled up, the next tier is going to be $5 a month. Like I said, I'm going to be increasing this because I haven't increased the price on that for 2 years now. So it's been at $4 for a while. And this way, the members that have joined me, you know, some of them have been with me for almost 2 years now, have stuck around. Others that have joined in the past year as well will stay at $4. And then new members that come in will have to, unfortunately, take the bite and increase of $1 more. So now you're buying yourself a coffee and something else for that, but you're getting a heck of a lot more data here than you would from your coffee. Okay, so that's happening now. That's live as is. And what else is there? I think that's it. Oh, also, we're at the end of the month already. So today's September 30th. Tomorrow's going to be October. Come next week, we're going to get a bunch of updates for the miners as well. So we're going to start reviewing the miners as far as the monthly production updates. And then we'll take a look at the quarterly, because quarter ends basically today. So we're going to start getting quarterly results here in about a month and a half or so when they start reporting those again. So that's going to be interesting to find out how they're doing there. Look at the miners that are growing, which ones are not growing, which ones are having a hard time paying off their debt, things like that. We'll keep you guys posted all the way through the next halving event and onward. Okay, so that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you guys in the next one.